Good morning. Happy NVDA earnings day. As always, trying to make sure the volume is okay on the music and everything, so if it isn't, please say something. What's SPY doing? Well, this is SPY D1. What did we say yesterday? Classic bull flag. Great. So what do we do? A nice hammer here. Looks like it was mainly generated that way because of this candle, whether it was a misprint or not. Pretty significant. But either way, even without this rate, you still have a pretty green day, obviously, gap and go, right? So keep that in mind. Let's see here. Music a bit loud. All right, let me turn down. Hold please, hold please, hold please. Better? Better, better. Better, better, better. Better? Better, better. Better, better, better. Better? Better, better. Better, 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 better. Better? Better, 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 better. Better? Better. Alright, cool. I'm just trying to spam you guys with, oh, it's because I turned the desktop audio down. Maybe I need to turn down... Let's turn the music down. Is that alright? Alright. As always struggling with volume and all sorts of nonsense. Yeah, so what's the market doing? The market is above all the SMAs. The market is bull flagging, but is now finding some resistance here at what seems like some significant levels. If you zoom out a little bit, you have some cloud lines. This one in particular is the one that I was looking at. 5, 93, 15. Looks like the one to consider here. Thanks for the follow, whoever that was. Welcome. But yeah, let me check something. Make sure we're right here. Okay. It would be nice if the audio settings say for future. Yeah, I know, dude. It would, but I basically, I'm listening on Spotify, and so I just turn the music down on Spotify. I don't know. There's probably a way to do it. I'm just bad at this. Yeah. So significant cloud level here, right? A couple of them. Look at this long flat level. This line. Look at that. You have some crossover here too. There's a lot of cloud levels in here, right? This is turbulence. You have another one here that coincides here a little bit. So yeah, I think they're relevant and I think they're important. And if you look back, you get some touches here, touch here, right? You got two very significant levels here, and that's what we saw this morning. We're seeing some resistance. So. That being said, I was hopeful that by swinging long on this breach, which whether or not this line was relevant or not, we're kind of completing the bull flag a little bit here. We knew that there was some significant resistance here too, that we would at least try and test the H minus. We didn't even get there, but if you ride the edge, you get a nice trade either way. So I was long APP overnight, and I also took a position in Rocket Lab. Overnight as well, and I actually did that in after hours. I took Rocket Lab here, which is fun. Got like a bit of a Dude, if you want me to review a trade, you can just let me know. I just threw that in there so people could do it. But it's funny, you got a view op test in after hours on Rocket Lab. It's insane. So I kind of bought some shares here. I added a little bit on that candle, and then boom, took off. So that was great to see. Rocket Lab moves, man. This is another one of these Momo stocks a little bit here. When I swing, especially short term, I don't sleep well usually. So it's not for the faint-hearted, especially if you're putting on any sort of size. But I got a nice bounce here in the morning, and I actually took profits right here. Same thing with APP. Let's look at APP. APP, I took an entry. I would actually have to look when I took my entry. Let's see. I said long APP at just 3:49 p.m. I think that was 12:49. So probably I don't know. I think it was here. Is that right? Looks right. Yeah, I think that's where I took it, and I was willing to swing it because I really like APP's strength. I like the breakout here. I've historically always been a breakout trader, and this is like right here. This is bread and butter for us, right? Big breakout on something that we know moves, that is potentially breaching some consolidation here. Finish the day above the cloud level here, the significant long cloud line. Really liked it, so I got long there. The thing about APP is it's an expensive stock and expensive options. I knew I wasn't going to hold it any longer than today. So if you look at the actual trade, the options were only through this week, 530s. They were expensive. They were like, I want to say $14.75 a pop. Got a couple of them. So, but it had a really nice return. Took gains on the first candle up here, and got out. And feels good. So yeah, good start to the day. The week's been good. I took a 29 call, closed, but held on to it at the open. I'm still saving for up for a game on Steam. Is that Shroud? Pew pew. Oh, that's awesome. Chocolate, if you want a game, I'm down to game, buddy. You let me know what you want to play. Anyways, but yeah, good morning, Wayne. Good morning, Chocolate. Good morning, Mushroom. Kites, welcome, dude. What's going on? Welcome, guys. Welcome, Micho. What's going on? Wayne, what was the trade you wanted to look at? Was there a TAPA that warranted me to exit? I missed. Where was your entry and where was your exit? How about that? Let's start with that. Your lack thereof exit. And yeah, today I'm not expecting a ton here, right? If anything, I was hoping that there would be a little bit more of a run up from NVDA into earnings. Maybe it was yesterday, because they got this big bounce. They tested some of these horizontal levels. You even got to move up here in pre-market, pulled back. That being said, look, you had a hammer here, big tail, big tail. You had a test of VWAP, couldn't get above VWAP. I mean, if that's me and I'm holding this position, I'm out right there. Especially with what the market's doing here, with a little bit of a turnover here. So it wouldn't have been easy to do, but I will say that at the end of the day, in this market, you're taking whatever overnight gifts you can. And typically, as an options trader who takes pretty short-dated options, which can bite you in the ass, happens more often than I would like to admit, that you have to be looking to take gains overnight. So keep that in mind. That you have to be looking to take pretty quickly there in the morning at open. So took a 29 call at the close yesterday, 1550-ish. What was your entry price? I'll just look at the chains. And what's the expiration? $0.74 this Friday. So they were kind of a punt, right? I mean, those are lottos. 29 call. I mean, they're in profit. The high a day with these was 225, which would have been, up here. I mean, are you still holding them? There's nothing to say here that this market can't bounce this morning. I mean, this is kind of, this candle, this engulf was a little rough. But I don't know, man. That's over 100% gain this morning. You're sitting there looking at 100% gain. I don't think you can look at that and not say, yeah, I need to take profit, right? I mean, you didn't even have to close it at the high of day here. You could have closed it anywhere in the first candle and taken well over 100%. So just think about that. And so it's no different than the same mentality that I'm kind of telling you here, is that you need to, in this market, consider to take faster gains. I don't understand if holding it was a mistake. SPY was opening strong and so did the stock. It did open strong. But yeah, I mean, I just don't trust this market for a second. And when I'm swinging, especially if they're that short dated, then, got to kind of make that call. So, I mean, Rocket Lab is a Momo, man. There's no reason why you can't be in this. You hit some horizontal here, which is kind of where I was okay taking gains. But what I will say is I did subconsciously peek at this and say, man, this looks like horizontal resistance here, somewhere in here, right? And that's kind of where we got to. So I was happy to take gains there. It was also up 5%. I know this thing moves ridiculously, but did you think it was just gonna moon? I don't know. And also the market was struggling to get over the pre-market level. So something else to consider there. You can look there. You can look at what QQQ is doing. QQQ made a nice move in the morning, but obviously hit that pivot point and pulled back. I don't know. There's no like perfect answer there. It's just like you have to kind of figure it out. Yeah, I agree with Izzy. Like, it's one of those things, like take your gains at open and in this market, especially. So you bought those knowing that you're probably going to get rid of them today because NVIDIA is at the bell. You weren't going to hold those overnight, right? And also you'll get burned by theta unless Rocket Lab really goes. I don't know. For me, I went into that APP trade knowing that I was going to be taking gains today no matter what, and so I felt like this morning was a gift. Anyways, with Rocket Lab, what would you be looking for now? This is a nice breach. You would be looking for it to either start consolidating here, but you know, it's going to be dependent on NVIDIA. And so flipping charts today, I think will be interesting and fun to do, but at the same time, and we'll be setting a lot of alerts, but my expectation is if NVIDIA has a big move in one direction or the other, that the whole market's going to do so, and it could trigger a lot of alerts. So keep that in mind. And yes, Mallow, that is a good observation, and part of the reason why I do it too is because historically, whenever I watch Terry trade options, especially short dated, he does it fairly quickly at the open. Anyways, so what would you be looking for Rocket Lab? Either, like we said, consolidation here, or pull back and bounce and go again. And that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's Rocket Lab. Look at this thing. This thing's nuts. So, anyways, definitely interesting. Definitely was a solid trade. APP, solid trade as well. Same story here, right? You would like some consolidation and start moving up and testing some of these levels. With APP, it was more like I just would like to take profits on this because they were short dated. With Rocket Lab, they were shares, so it didn't really bother me as much. Cool, nice hammer here. We got a lot of standard deviations. I know there's a lot of colors here now, so I'll just give a quick explanation to make sure that we're all on the same page. But let's just close some of this stuff so we can see. Okay, so pretty straightforward, right? I added in a new EMA indicator. Thank you, Tenacious. I don't remember who it was in the Learning Center. He shared this one. It's called 3 EMA. But I just adjusted it. I now have the 8, 15, and 21. And you can see the colors there, they correspond. 8, 15, 21. I think those are the most important ones. And then I throw in the standard deviations. And so green, this VWAP standard deviation bands gives me VWAP, 1 standard deviation on both sides, which is this gray line, and then the red ones are 2 and 3. So I have all of them in there, kind of a lot of lines. It really jumbles up the chart, but I think they're important. I mean, you can see what's happening here, right? And so, you know, that's what we're looking at. Cool. Let's look at sectors real quick. Actually, let's look at the news. So we think that there's a 5-year auction today. We also know that there is Fed minutes later today. I don't expect a ton coming out of this. I do think the Fed is pretty like uncertain still, right? That's the word that Powell keeps using. And there's no speech for that today, right? It's just the... Oh, it is a meeting. Okay, it's not just the minutes. Oh, is it? I don't remember if that means that Powell's speaking or not. I don't think that means he's speaking. Heritage mental or something like... 100% seems like a bad call. What's up, Prophet? In what world is 100% a bad call? Anyways. Kind of interesting yesterday. There was a gap and go, and we saw that happening, but watching what VIX was doing all day was definitely fascinating. Like, VIX was just coming down. Like, look at this. Just kind of consolidation, kind of just slowly drifting down while the market... I mean, it makes sense at the end of the day, but with a move like that, maybe you would expect VIX to come down a little bit further. I don't know. Hard to say. And I know there's a lot of like VIX gex out there that you can look at. It might be worthwhile. So it's not your bad, dude. I mean, it's a learning process and it takes time. But do you feel worse if you take profit? Maybe initially you feel worse if you don't take profit like you are right now, and it moves against you, so you end up with, you know, a loss or a break even. But down the line, after you start taking profits a little bit faster, you know, then you start saying to yourself, okay, if I do take profits and it does move, then okay, I'm okay with that. You know, you're at least, you know, getting some return. So I don't know. Some of it is, especially with lottos, especially with, you know, these short swings, like you gotta really consider what's important here. And in this market, it's about surviving. It's about making you know, a good amount to keep the runway going. So cool. Tem got nuked this morning on some short report. Kind of interesting. I have shares in this. I was selling puts against it at 75. Or I'm sorry, selling calls against it at 75. So I'm still happy to hold these shares because I will end up getting all the premium from those calls because they expire in 2 days. And actually, we'll close them out here because they are close to, they're like 90%. The remaining premium is not worth it through NVIDIA earnings, because if NVIDIA takes off, who knows, maybe this guy will go too. STX has been a good trade. We were looking at this one yesterday. Really like STX. It's a grinder. You're above all-time highs, maybe an L plus or an H plus here. Hard to say. I don't know. Yeah, looks pretty good. Let's get rid of some of this garbage. And so I'm just gonna do what I said I would do and start flipping charts. We'll do what we do every day, which is look at all the sectors because I think that's important. But we can take a quick peek. All right, so your strongest sector is XLV, which is healthcare. I believe it was weak yesterday. But strength in this market is literally anything that's green, it looks like, today. So the weakest you have is TAN, which I was already looking at, so we'll peek at those. Hack looks like it's weak, and also IWM, which makes sense. That's what you're seeing kind of here. Yeah, so something to consider. Utilities, electricity, or energy rather. REITs, basic materials, finance. I know, Izzy, you've been looking at finance a lot, so I don't know, maybe if you have some commentary around that. You called out MA earlier, and it was looking nice. It no longer is. Yeah, today's garbage now at this point, which is okay. And so that's why I started the stream, so we can hang out a little bit, feel no FOMO, and just start flipping charts. So let's look at, so I found something kind of interesting. We'll jump into that here in a minute. Look at these healthcare companies. ELV, CVS, Humana, UNH. I don't know what that is. Fair Isaac Corp. PLTR's up. AutoZone had earnings, I think, yesterday. GE's been continuously good. Dash was one from yesterday. I shouted Dash yesterday. Let's see what it looks like. Dash, another one. Even though yesterday's price action was like pretty trash and it didn't finish above the H minus, look at that. Still took off this morning. And it's fighting with VWAP when the market's below it. So there's some relative strength here, but nothing really to write home about. You have another H minus that's coming in too. Where would we be interested? Maybe you just breach this and then we'd care. You know what? We can put it higher because you have some just delete this. Let's throw in some obvious horizontal resistance here, and we'll just add an alert on it. Forget it. All right, cool. Anything else from the S&P 500 map? Let's look at these real quick. UNH we know is catching a knife. Yep, nothing there. Free Luigi. Humana, same story. This thing's been beat to shit. Nothing really to write home about here, I don't think. Significant horizontal here too. Look at that. Okay. What else do we have? That's pretty impressive that Dash takes up. I know they were like fairly recently added to the S&P 500, but it takes up that much of the communication sector. So we'll look at GE real quick. Well, let's look at this FICO thing, whatever this FICO thing is. Okta breaking down after earnings. Yeah, I don't mind the Okta short. The thing is, Okta was looking really good prior to earnings. I mean, Okta was looking great prior to earnings. Look at that thing. And obviously, it's not at all-time highs because that was a bit of a COVID stock. But I think you kind of just watch this one. I'm not sure there's really. I mean, you could look to short it if you want, but I mean, I don't see this market breaking down significantly here today. That's going to give you a big move. Where would you look to get short today? I mean, if you really wanted to, you could look off of view up, but you would need a pullback to view up to then trade the tailwind. I don't think they're. I mean, look at all these tails that are here, respecting the second standard deviation, respecting the cloud line. We need to see more. So let's just like let's be patient here. What is FICO? Let's look at FICO. Dash though is holding view up. Kind of interesting. We'll actually leave Dash up, so we can keep an eye on it. Let's look at FICO. Fair Isaac Corporation. Look at that D1. Holy sell-off. Wasn't even earnings. This must be related to Fannie Mae. What is it? No. Software and scores segment. Decision management software. What happened to these guys? God, what an expensive stock too. I'm not even gonna F with this. This is ridiculous. Okay. Anything else here? CVS, ELV. We'll take a look at those two real quick. My guess is that the charts are not pretty. Nope. CVS though bounced off the 200, kind of interesting. Took the 100 today. But you're in the cloud. There's gonna be chop in here. Company's nothing special. I mean, it's CVS, unfortunately. Yeah, nothing really here for me. Did have good earnings last time around. This time around, doesn't look like they were good. They beat, but my guess is that there's probably some bad guidance. Who knows? So we'll see. Draw one more cloud line here. Cool. And the other one was Elevance. Was looking like a good short previously. Below all the SMAs. What would you be looking for Elevance? So like you can tell when a day is LPTE kind of, because stocks like these are opposite of what they have been doing. Right? This has been selling off, tried to bounce to the 100, got through the 100, hammered back through it, and then dumped back out. What would you be looking for Elevance here? I'd be looking for a short off of here, or even a rejection of the 100. That's what I would be interested in on Elevance. But look at what it's doing today. It's strong today. Can't trade it, but kind of interesting. All right, anything else in here? I know PLTR got a shout earlier. That thing's jumped like funky for sure. Unclear if that H- is relevant or not. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Let's look at the price action. Choppy. Look at that engulf right there. Yeah, nothing here. So, cool. With that said, then let's just jump into the SMA, or I'm sorry, into the mags. QQQ is now rejecting that H-. So in turn, SPY, you would expect the same thing. We can take one quick look at this new low a day on IWM. And if you look at RSP, which we know is equal weighted S&P 500, look what we're doing. So let's go there and let's bring up the daily and let's just make sure we have the 200 accurately added. 176.29 looks good to me. We'll add an alert there because it's RSP. And this one's important. Go back to the 5-minute. Get rid of the cloud and the SMAs. Cool. It's date. We'll watch that a little bit. And SPY. Let's just make sure we have this accurately represented. Looks pretty good. Cool. Okay. Yeah, this market's not giving you any entry for a short, except for if you said in golf you wanted to get short, but even then, I don't see it. Look where we are now. Low at A in pre-market. So I know a lot of people don't use pre-market levels, but I do. There's definitely something at these levels, and they represent previous day's levels too. And they more often than not coincide with the cloud and standard deviations. So definitely keep an eye on some of that stuff. It doesn't make my decision making one way or the other. It's not firm support or resistance, but it definitely is like, hey, there's something here, right? Okay, let's jump through these, see what's strong, see what's weak. I'm going to take the nuclear option. Get rid of everything. Let's just do analysis from the beginning on D1. We know that there's an H minus. Looks good. There's probably an L plus. And this is for anyone who's learning D1 analysis, anyone who's learning RDT style. Like, this is how you look at every single chart. It's all the same. There's more and less in there that you can probably account for. But to me, this is some of the important stuff, especially if you're going to be trading breakouts, breaches, all that good stuff. All right, so you got an L plus. Excuse me. Wayne's looking at F5. We talked about this the other day, that it's weak. It's having a nice little breakdown. I don't know. Potentially. What's the profit target? $4 there to get to this cloud line. 620, 170. I don't know, man. Maybe. I'm flat right now. I'm not super interested in carrying anything over earnings of Amazon or of NVDA. I think it'll change the picture and or give us an idea of where the semiconductor industry is at right now. So so next, what do? We throw in the SMAs. Got the 100, the 200, and the 50. These are not perfect. If I want to get them perfect, I can. It looks like Amazon today is rejecting the 100, which is 206.33. Cool. Yeah, so for me that's good enough. We could go in here and look at some horizontal levels. Right now I'll just look at the cloud lines. Maybe something there. Hard to say. This guy's gotten pretty choppy, so maybe something there too. Definitely some cloud levels in here, but the SMAs will come in first, so we'll just leave it as B. And you have some on the top side as well. Let's fix this. Cool. All right, so that's Amazon. Looks like the market, so not really doing anything crazy. NVIDIA maybe a little bit stronger, so we'll put the stronger ones at this end, the weaker ones at this end. Costco's just consolidating. Weaker Microsoft, looks like Amazon. Google looks weaker as well, and bumping up against the SMAs. Get rid of this. NVIDIA's right there too. Meta, some consolidation, maybe a little bit stronger. Apple, Netflix looks kind of weak too. Cool. So let's just keep going through these. So Netflix. I mean, this thing's been an absolute beast. Look at this thing. Let's remove the drawings. Amazon, what else did I miss? You could throw on an AVWAP at the all-time high. You could throw one at a relative low, or earnings if you really wanted to. AVWAP E. Significant candles. We know April 7th was a significant candle. So we'll leave those on there. I think that's enough. If you start adding too many, it really jumbles your chart. What do you think about STX is holding RS? We talked about STX already. I think it's good. It's a grinder. I think it had good earnings, and that's what you're seeing here. It's moved up through the SMAs. Looks good. But this guy is computer peripherals, hard disk drives, solid state drives. I mean, it looks good, but how are you going to trade this? It just breached VWAP with volume. It's been moving up nonstop. When would you be interested? Probably if it did something like that. Right? It's just been inching closer to this H+. I don't know. I'm not trying to be an investor here, so. Not on this guy. Visco. Let's look at this one. Mallow likes Visco. Mallow, you got a good eye lately, man. And you've been putting in the work. Good for you. Really nice. M5. 5-minute chart. What's the trade here? Where would you look to? It's already had its bounce to view up. If you didn't take the entry there, what now? Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat real quick. Uber, FI. Oh, nice. Harry's trading today too. So he'll have his spaces here in about an hour or two. Hour or two? 3 hours? Can't remember what time he comes on. So yeah, this is the Harry waiting room. Okay, so maybe you take a trade to the 50. I could see that. Let's see if there's an H plus or an L plus. Perhaps. And you maybe are breaking down through it. Doesn't look bad. You just don't have a ton of room to the 50. This guy doesn't move crazy. I don't mind it. But if you didn't get the entry here, now you're getting a hammer here off of the first standard deviation. I mean, it's not even weaker than SPY per se, right? Not for me. It's okay. Yeah, I see it with FI though. Looks great. Just continuation. These dump outs are pretty significant. What's up, Fanjo? What's going on, Doctor? Bill? I know. I'm just a Bill. Anyone? Not bad. Nice breakdown of the 50. What does it look like? Yeah, I see it. You need a pullback. We need a pullback from SPY. So we like Bill. We like FI. If you can get a pullback from SPY, then maybe there's a short. But I think we're really fishing here. Okay, let's just keep flipping the mags here. All right. So real quick, just throw on the SMAs. NVIDIA's D1, or I'm sorry, Netflix D1 looks great. There's a big cloud line here. If we could get a pullback, say NVIDIA has bad earnings and this decides it wants to pull back a little bit too, is there a way that you could sell puts below this level? They would be very juicy because they're expensive and you would need a lot of margin and or collateral to do so, even for just one contract, but it would pay. So kind of interesting there. We did Amazon already. Let's look at Microsoft. This thing's a a mess. Let's clean it up. Take the nuclear option. 's moving up. Some significant cloud levels in here, it looks like. Pretty choppy in here. Quite a bit of consolidation. We know that they're pretty big on AI. Recently, after the big earnings bump, it's looked great. Look at this price action. I mean, it makes sense. Makes sense to me. Nice H minus breach. Looks good. Is there a long-term L plus here? Probably. Yeah, that looks relevant somehow. Something like that. Maybe even go back. I mean, look at this thing. Ridiculous. Cool. Yeah, looks about right. There's some horizontal up here, obviously. All-time high. But it's weak today. Google, we already looked at. Looks decent. Is this a new H minus potentially? I'm sorry, doesn't look decent. It's weak. Looks like it's going to breach back down through the 100 today if the market keeps moving, pulling back. But like we said, everything depends on NVIDIA today. All right, 200, 100. Way too many AV WAPs in here. What is that? Just get rid of that. What is this? Get rid of this. Earnings, fine. Below, fine. A lot of horizontal in this level right here. Yeah. A lot of horizontal here, but also where we're bouncing from right now, about 135, seems like it was pretty good support for me. So kind of interesting. But obviously we're not trading NVIDIA before earnings. Apple. The thing is, I don't love to go the nuclear option on some of these charts because a lot of these horizontal levels, they don't change, right? They stay. And that's what, but once it starts getting that messy, it's hard to read the chart. So just keep flipping. Flip, flip, flipping. Take a quick look at SPY. SPY finding new low a day. So FI looks great, but where's the entry? Unclear. Maybe here? But man, you would have had to have been on top of it. I think that would be really tough. We did call out FI yesterday though. So. And look at Dash. Still just fighting above VWAP. There's certainly something here. But there's not a ton of room, right? There's a $3 move potentially here when the market's weak. I don't know. Only 1%, 1.6%. I'm not sure that's worth it. QQQ putting in some tails. VIX is still moving up pretty steadily. Now, are people doing the same thing as us? Are they, you know, going flat, going into NVIDIA earnings? I don't know. Maybe. We were looking at Apple. Let's throw some AV WAPs on real quick. God. You know what's the worst? Having to brush your teeth in the morning, but then wanting to drink coffee, tastes so bad. Ugh. Wish there was a solution for that. Someone should make like toothpaste coffee. Orange juice after brushing your teeth? Ugh. Timar, you're a morning man then. I don't shower in the morning. Kidding me? I barely roll out of bed before the bell. Okay, meta. Look at this. Respecting H minus, or would be interested. Look at there's a bunch of cloud levels here. The ones that really call my attention are when you see the cloud flip flop, right? You know, you have these different, the green but this like little junction here, to me seems important. You have some significant levels in here, but they coincide with the 100, so not as important. Meta's been historically strong here, relatively strong for a while. So, where would we be interested? Probably confirmation of the breakout of the H minus. But like we've been saying with everything else, it's going to depend on NVDA. So, Costco's been strong, man. Look at this. Big pullback on earnings in here. Maybe there was a world where we could have like started to position in Costco, because you know, talk about a good company. Let's clean it up though. Probably an H plus or H minus. L plus coming in here somewhere. Massive L plus. No. Perhaps. Alright, throw on the SMAs. And like I said yesterday, a lot of this could be automated. And I really think you should, potentially, if you'd like it to. But I also know, look at that cloud line right there, cloud line right here. But I also, like I said before, this helps me kind of visualize where we're at with some of this stuff, especially with the mags. I think that's really important. And it helps me do the DD that I need to do to say, is this a good pick or not? And yeah, everyone's process is a little different. And that's okay. It's probably a horizontal level here. We're right where we're at. Look at this. Touch. Kind of consolidation in here. It's been respecting that level. Yeah, we'll see. Throw on a VWAP. April 7th, just, we know it's so significant for a lot of these stocks. So definitely, I think, worth an VWAP. Tesla has been strong. And so look at what it's doing right now. Yesterday, was there a world that we could have traded Tesla? Maybe. Didn't really even give you a VWAP pullback though, except for early on. So that's the nature of the gap and go. It was one of the stronger mags earlier yesterday. So a lot of horizontal levels down here. I traded it all the way down here a couple times. Yeah. All right, we'll just leave this one be. So that's the mags. Cool. What's SPY doing? Continuing to break down. The opposite of yesterday. When Timar takes a shower, he's just standing there under the shower and it's just blasting him in the face to get all the toothpaste taste out. Fanjo, I may scalp if opportunity presents, but not going to trade anything big today due to FOMC and NVIDIA earnings. Yeah, I'd have to agree. I'm keeping it light, keeping it real light and easy. See what happens today. Remember, we're coming off of a holiday weekend too. So yeah, we can see what that looks like. So yeah, I did have a couple things that I wanted to jump into as well that might be interesting. NVIDIA, right? You have NVIDIA here today at the bell, CRM at the bell, ELF at the bell. I don't know what the rest of this stuff is. Sentinel-1, interesting. I think we used to trade this one. Kind of interesting. AI may be interesting. Burlington, Foot Locker, retail garbage. Marvel will be impacted by NVIDIA, so we'll see what happens with Marvel tomorrow. Costco, we just spoke about them. Dell, all these Zscaler, ZS, another one from the hack sector, kind of interesting. AEO, Gap maybe. And then that's about it. Kind of interesting there. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I found yesterday in the Qualmagi, however you say it. This guy was putting together a TradingView breakout screener, looking for some feedback. So I'll probably put one together later today, just to have on the cards. These are interesting trades. They're usually, you know, typically they feel like lower cap ones, but they're definitely interesting either way. And they're ones that, I mean, look at these. They make big moves. And this is how he's made his name. So I definitely suggest you look into those. Kava was one that we were looking at short. Let's look at Kava, what just got breached. Breakdown. Kava breakdown. Below all the SMAs. Breaching the bottom of the cloud. I don't mind Kava here. Throw that one in the chat. Morty is a short DraftKings. Let's look at that one. Mortium US. Nice. Breakdown of the 50. You have the cloud below, though. Could be a problem. Some cloud levels in here. I think this is coming up on quite a bit of resistance. And not a ton of room. So, we'll see. But it wouldn't surprise either to come down and retest this level. And then you have some consolidation. There's obviously a level there. Cool. Let's refresh the map. Awesome. So then I will just leave this in here. Actually, I'll just dump this into the chat if you want it. Kind of interesting, one way or the other. So, yeah, I don't see a ton here, to be honest. Yeah, Daijo, I saw that. I know Four Hill has like one or two songs that, because I just have it on. I have. Hold on, hold please. I just have this this playlist going. Our boy Four Hill, which we haven't seen lately. Hopefully he's doing all right. I have this playlist going, and he had told me that it was all DMCA free, but I think there's a couple in there that either he's been hanging out with other people or whatnot, but unfortunately, I don't know what songs it is. If I can figure it out, then I'll just, you know, get rid of it from that playlist for myself, but I don't know how to. Because it's DMCA. So, if I can figure that out, then I will. Spy bouncing here. Still hasn't gotten below the second standard deviation. Yeah, we don't mind Kava here. We liked Bill. Fiserv's bouncing. Potentially at a cloud level here too. Yeah. Not too bad. Okay. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna make one more. I think I don't have a sector for. Oh, I do. I have the tan sector. Let's go. And I have casinos. Look at this. I'm well prepared. Tan. Tan's getting beat up today. We know it's getting absolutely crushed. Let's look at it. So we actually had Kava on the interesting list already from previously. CF, look at this thing. Perfect example of a breakout. We called out CF, I think here on Wednesday, right? We set the alert here at this consolidation level. Nice breakout on Wednesday at volume. Look at it yesterday. Look at it today. Process though. Don't love process industries. Moves kind of funky. Nothing really to write home about today. How could you trade this? We know that there's horizontal here. What if there was a pullback and a bounce? Maybe. Maybe. GE continuation. Looks great. What did we see here? Pullback to the 8. Bounce. Looks good. The problem is, how do you just continue to ride that? I think that's tough. Still looks nice today, though. Looks like Dash. And this is what I think an RS stock looks like in this market right now, with the market dumping out like this. But look, we're getting a little bit of a bounce here. Testing the 8 and the 15. See what happens. Evaluate your RW stocks. See if there's potential for an entry somewhere. Yeah. I think it's tough to trade right in here. So, what else do we have in here? We had CEG because the nukes were going wild. Some slight continuation today, kind of taking a break. Where would you be interested? Maybe a pullback to the 8 and a bounce. Oracle, another good one from yesterday. 200 breakout, but look, nothing here today. We'll keep an eye on it. Hood, another one, breaking out of this H minus, but doesn't look like it wants any continuation. That's fine. Aklo, nonstop, nuclear, Momo, almost new all-time high. Definitely looks good. Like that better than some of these. So we'll take Oracle off, we'll take Hood off, set an alert on Hood up here. Hood off. Rocket Lab still looks alright, but likely a pullback. Wendy's was a short. Nice volume yesterday, but bouncing today. Don't love that. RCL, the cruise lines were strong yesterday. Didn't do anything today. CCL, same thing. Off. APP, kind of a doji forming. Just below VWAP. I don't know. Nothing really here for me. Let's clean up the cloud line. Let's just set an alert up here. TSM was really strong yesterday. Looked pretty good. Still consolidating in this area. You have some significant cloud levels to take into account. Probably if I really wanted to, I could clean up this chart, but I don't feel like it right now. And look, there's the cloud level. Let's just set an alert here, see if we can get a breach. VRT was the other one that we were almost about to trade yesterday. Look at this breach pulling back here. Does this bounce off of the H minus and the 8 there? I think that's where you'd be interested. Also heavily going to be impacted by NVDA. Both of these will be. So keep paring your interesting list down, right? Always pare it down because there's always other things that will change and impact what's going on. LVS. If we were looking short DraftKings, then we probably are going to be looking short on some of the casino stocks. Some significant levels in here. DraftKings, we already talked about that. Caesars pulling back as well. You have 50 coming in below here. Let's just add an alert. Cool. Scan alert here. Set a lot of alerts. Let's do that. Cloud level here. Set an alert on that. Win, stronger of the other ones. H minus is coming in here. It could be relevant. I don't see anything here, especially if you don't get more of a bounce. BYD, look at this guy. Something here potentially. Volume is trash. Churchill Downs getting absolutely nuked. Penn. Meh. MGM. I mean, in theory, you could set an alert on pretty much all of these if you really wanted to, with SMAs, with a cloud level, with, you know, kind of whatever you want. LVS moves like shit, but nice rejection on 100. You have to weather a lot of intraday noise, though. S-Bucks breaking down. All right, we'll look at S-Bucks here in a second. LVS. Yeah, I mean, you're in between the SMAs, too. I think it's tough. You know, I do like to trade in between, like a magnet to the SMAs, but it needs to be clear where it's moving. Otherwise, you could get some chop. Said Starbucks. Let's look at Starbucks. Breaking down. It just looks like it's a 50 rejection. That's all. I see it. She's just breaking down. Obviously a horizontal level here. I don't know. I think this one's tough to trade. Got a lot of chop in there. This is consolidation right here. It is making a new low a day, which is interesting. A lot of chop in here. Throw on some AV ops. This can come off. I think you would want it below the EMAs to then test AV op from April 7th. That's where I would be potentially. Some sort of consideration. For an intraday day trade short, maybe. But where do you get an entry? Like, would you have taken one there? I mean, you're seeing a lot of volume on the green candles. I don't know. Same thing though, it can't get above some of the EMAs when the volume's coming in. So maybe, yeah, maybe it is a good short. Not bad. Let's look at the last couple of ones here. Flute, nothing. All right, good enough. Casinos. All right, let's look at these real quick because tan is so weak. Terrible earnings on this one for Sunrun. What's the volume? Volume's pretty good. A lot of consolidation in here. Horizontal levels. Actually looks like a cloud level there, kind of. Hard to say. But I treat the bottom of the cloud important as well. So, yeah, I'm not going to touch DJT. Could you explain what you mean, it being clear on LVS to trade between SMAs? Yes. Give me a second. Yeah, significant breakdown there. It's kind of interesting, right? These guys, all these companies that just have a lot of money, what do? They just buy Bitcoin. Like you saw it with GameStop today. They made a big purchase of Bitcoin. What do they look like in the charts? Big pullback when they said they made a big purchase of Bitcoin. So like, MSTR was the original in terms of like a stock or a business that's like kind of like fully invested in Bitcoin. And look what's happening. They're all pulling back. Is it because there's some like dilution of stocks that are now representative of Bitcoin? Perhaps. Let's look at BTC real quick just to see. I mean, Bitcoin is topping out a little bit here. People are taking some profits, but it's not pulling back like those other ones are. So kind of interesting. But yeah, DJT is breaking down. You're at the 50 now. What would you, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's Bitcoin is like, we don't know. Bitcoin is another way of saying we could pay dividends or we could It's a more risky version of we could pay dividends or we could do some other stuff. Or we could do other stuff instead of trying to grow the business. Like, we don't know what to do. That's basically what they're saying, right? GameStop got all that money when they started issuing shares, and they didn't know what to do with all their money. They paid out their CEO multiple times, and he didn't do shit, right? The business has done nothing. It's just a meme stock still. And so what do? They buy Bitcoin. Same with DJT. And there's something here too, because they're trying to give credence to crypto through in this particular what's the word I'm thinking of here? Why can't they're just basically through Trump's presidency, right? He's trying to give legitimacy to crypto. So keep that in mind. I don't know, not for me. Shorting it, sure, that'd be fun. Why not? Because I mean, if you guys don't know me, fuck that guy. SPY, look at this. So same thing every time, right? Slowly breaking down, can't get above the 8, can't get above the 8, can't get above the 8. Volume comes in, breach the 8, finish above the 8, test the 15. Can't get above the 15, pull back. Continues down. We're going to breach the 8 again. We're going to get a VWAP test. I don't know. But I think you need to wait until VWAP. And so I think I said last night, I posted a little, posted something in RDT for Chris, that I saw a really good post by none other than Pete. I'll just screenshot it. You can ignore the top stuff, but the thing to me that really stood out, pink, yeah, love it. Your edge, price action plus market context, price is truth. Can't read price action, you can't trade. Right? We know this is choppy. We know there's like a lot of significant levels coming in here. We know that NVIDIA's earnings are coming up. Harry went short yesterday. I was trying to figure out, at close he was going short. I was long. I was like, I don't understand. The TA says that, we should be bullish. So I was surprised that he went short, but maybe he has other information from JPM, whatever that may be. This is all important. Obviously, you need to master this stuff. But then the other thing that really resonates with me is this. Time of day matters. Really, really matters. And the ones that I trade very often are this. Late day reversals. I did it yesterday. I shorted QQQ when the market started to roll over. And if this market decides it wants to start to bounce after it finds some support, then I'll be there for that too. And we'll see what that looks like. And I'll consider a day trade long. So we'll see. Let me see here. Harry went short Tesla 6 minutes ago. Ballsy. I don't see it. I mean, that's that is in this market, he's looking for a lot of these scalpy day trades, and that's okay. He sees something in the TA that he likes, or who knows? He's right more often than he's wrong. So SMR, we can look at the nukes. Yeah, I mean, this thing's going. Let's finish up TAN, and then we'll jump into the nukes. So we looked at run. Let's look at Sedge real quick. Sedge is holding the 200 despite weakness from TAN. These things move. That's the one thing about solar. They really move. So you got to be careful. You can get caught either way, or you can make money significantly. So keep that in mind. But look at that move off of who knows what. Array Technologies. I don't know what this is. Doesn't look terrible though. It's probably the volume's not good. Yeah, volume's nothing to write home about. ENPH. Bottoming out. Probably one of the better shorts here. Is there a trade to the relative low? I don't know. Maybe. NXT and FSLR. Okay, so we had a question about between the SMAs. LVS is a good example, right? In any trade, you're saying, okay, what is this? What's the D1 showing me? And how could I potentially trade this? You're identifying levels of support and resistance, like always. On LVS as an example, right? What are the key ones? Well, it's breaking down the 100. Looks like there's a cloud line in here that seems important. It breached that too. It's through the 8. You have the 15 here and you have the 21. If this was to continue back down, you would hope that it would test this. You have another cloud line here. So what do? You identify how much room there is to each of these, right? There's 3% to get to this cloud line. If you wanted to go to this cloud line, which seems more significant, it's 4.5%. That's enough for a trade, but you have to have confirmation that this breakdown is actually going to continue, right? 6.48% to the 50. The 50 is probably, it was moving up. Well, no, it'll start moving up a little bit until this comes back down below. But what I basically, and something I've talked about in the past, is there's a lot of, there's a bit of a magnetic pull from the SMAs, right? Price action goes towards the SMAs, and the nearest SMAs for that matter. And so I call it kind of an SMA magnet, something like that. But if you can get confirmation on the short, is there enough room to trade here? Is there enough room to say, it breaches this again off of a bounce of the 15 to take the trade here, right? You're trading in between the lines, in between the SMAs, and you're looking for small gains. But this is a big enough move to take a significant win with options. You have to have confidence in it. You have to be monitoring it accordingly and managing the trade well. But there is room in here to trade between the lines if you really want to. Is this the best short D1? No. Is this the best long D1? No. But if you look at the intraday on something like this and it's really good, good solid intraday short, maybe if the 50 was up here and you're like, cool, yeah, I think there's enough room here for a trade or whatever, right? You could say that the intraday PA lends enough here that I'm happy to say, cool, there's enough confirmation for me to go short here to ride it to a significant level of support. That's all I really mean. So hopefully there's something there. If I see a better one, this is not a good example right now, but if I see a better one in the future, I will bring it up. We're going to talk about nukes. Let's look at nukes real quick. SMR is the banger. Looks great. Bumping up against an H+. That's the only tough part. But intraday probably looks really good. Not great. I mean, these guys are just running on Momo. Still running on news. Where would you be interested in Aklo? We like Aklo to make a new relative high, all-time high here. And then we would like Aklo to pull back. So you could see something like that. That's the kind of confirmation that you're looking for. Same thing here. Breach, bounce, and go. We buy pullbacks. Remember that, guys. We buy pullbacks. We already said that about CEG, CCGA, same story. UEC, pulling back. This is just the uranium, probably one of the uglier stepchildren of this sector. They're more just the basic materials. And NNE, a little bit weaker too. So, anyways, new stock, relatively new. Crowd, yeah, Crowd's been on the list. What's Hack doing right now? Let's look at Hack real quick. I mean, look how weak Hack is. What's Crowd doing? It is waking up, but why would you want something below VWAP if you're looking for a long? I get the D1 is good, but I don't see it. I would much rather something like Dash that's above VWAP to consider. So SPY looks like it's putting in some support here. So what are we looking for? We need to breach the 15. We need to test the 21. Probably test VWAP and then see what happens there. See if it would give us a trade to the long side. I'm not sure I see that. A Dojai today wouldn't surprise me. Just because, there's uncertainty going into the Fed meeting minutes, and then also uncertainty around NVDA. So, yeah, nothing there for me with Crowd. Oh, you entered yesterday? Why did you take profits today then? Or yesterday? Depends on where you entered, I guess. I don't know. Wayne, I think you need to, are you paper trading? Because if you're not, I think you really, really need to evaluate. You're taking too many trades. If it's paper, fine. Fair enough. But I still think you're taking too many trades in a shitty environment. Only take the best of the best here. Okay, we talked about NNE. Is there anything else? Let's look at the sectors again real quick. We said hack is weak. Looks like it's one of the weakest ones. Yeah, it is the weakest. Let's look at the rest of the hack sector. So, I mean, that's the other thing. Why would you be short, or why would you be long a cyber stock or a cybersecurity stock when you see that hack is so weak, right? Hack is the sector. So cyber pulling back, ZS pulling back, but at relative highs. You know, is there a bounce here? Maybe, but we know that there's earnings coming up. Sentinel One, I think earnings are tomorrow, right? No, they're today at the bell. I mean, I like these stocks. I like to trade these stocks a lot. They move, and they're good. Like Sentinel is a good business. Crowd is a really good business. PanW is not a bad business. FTNT, really good business. Qualsys is a good business. I mean, these are great stocks to trade, but you have to realize that earnings is coming up, and we got NVIDIA. So, where we would be interested, probably here. Breach of the SMA. The other reason why I like to draw the lines with the SMA, even though they're already on the chart, is because I want confirmation. And if it's not confirming today, fine. But the 100 is going to keep coming down, right? Until the market moves up. And so if it keeps coming down, maybe it borders with this. But this yellow line will not move until I come back and adjust it. And if I have an alert set here and it breaches, and the 100 comes down and it breaches this yellow line, that's confirmation, right? The old SMA level is now confirmation for me. So that's why I like to do it with these lines too. Kind of helps me a little bit in terms of confirmation, because being early is also one of my bigger faults, and that's okay. Checkpoint, and so look at PanW. PanW, little dump out on earnings, but bounce off the 100, bounce off all the SMAs. 50. I mean, if you're gonna get long in a cybersecurity stock, it would be PanW, I think, just based on intraday, but with the consideration that there are earnings coming up. So keep that in mind. I'm taking a lot of 2 to 5 days trades. I don't know what that means. I think you mean you're swinging it for 2 to 5 days. That's fine. But I'm saying that you seem like you're taking a lot of trades every day. How many trades are you taking a day? Is it 2 to 5 trades a day? 2 to 5 day trades? I don't know what you're saying. Either way, if it was 2 to 5 day trades, that's a lot. That's too many. You're looking for the highest quality setup. Look at this. We can't get back above the 15. There's nothing here. What do we need? We need support to be coming in here. I mean, it could come down to the second standard deviation, which has been riding all day. I don't even know what this is. This probably is from yesterday, previous day. What is that from? Irrelevant. Irrelevant. Going on April 7th. And yeah, that's the problem. You start getting a lot of lines, a lot of levels of support and resistance. But I don't want to delete all these, because I think that, you know, if the market dumps out, we'll see what's relevant and what's not pretty quick. All right, so with SPY, we want to see it hold support here. It's now looks like it's respecting the 1 standard deviation. Just testing the 8. Let's see. Let's see if it's going to roll over here a little bit and give us a view-up test. That's what we like to see. In this slow-moving environment, I started taking 2 to 5 days. Dude, this is not a slow-moving environment. This is a news environment. There's a ton of news out there. You got to be careful. You don't know what Trump can say. You don't know if he could come out and say that there's something around, you know, India. You got to be careful. Izzy says could easily hammer by end of day. I agree. I'd be more inclined for Doji pre FOMC, well, who knows? Maybe that'll move the market. Maybe we get a surprise rate cut. But pre-earnings, I just would say maybe a Doji. Oh, Jesus, this won't let me draw the way I want to. Doji. That's what I'd be more inclined to see. So we'll see. Yeah, and so what are we looking for? We're looking for, you know, a change of, what do they call that? A break of structure, break of structure? I don't know. There's a guy that I follow as TA, and he calls this like a break of structure or something, and he's the one that I learned a lot from TA wise. It's definitely something to consider. So, but it's all about, you know, being able to understand TA. So yeah, Hacks Week. What do we say the strongest? Well, QQQ is actually kind of, you know, a little stronger than SPY here. Not much, but barely. And it's being led by what? The mags. The mags are above VWAP. So let's look at the mags real quick. What's strong, what's not? Netflix above VWAP. Tesla above VWAP. Costco below VWAP. You can move this down. And so I'm constantly just, you know, I always have all the mags up, and I'm reordering them because you know that they're, you know, these are some of the highest traded stocks, most heavily traded stocks out there. NVIDIA, look, earnings run up, making a little bit of a move here. What is that doing to SMH? SMH is now above VWAP. Let's look at semiconductors here in a second. Apple above VWAP, Meta below VWAP, fine. Google is below as well. All right, so we're interested in SMH stocks now potentially. Let's look at those. So we flip over here, go into this chart. What's the strongest SMH stock? Right now it's Marvel. We know that earnings are tomorrow. It's made a nice move as of yesterday. It gave a little bit back, it looks like. I mean, dude, here's the thing. You're trading on paper. I get it. And it's okay to be slinging it there, but it is, as Doctor said, a bad habit. Look at the sell-off at the end of the day. It's been making a nice move. Marvel is a solid company. They're in the supply chain for semiconductors. They will be impacted by NVIDIA news, so keep that in mind. It's made a nice move here and a nice bounce in pre-market. I don't know. I don't like it here, though. You're below VWAP. ARM was one we liked the breakout yesterday, and look at that. It's holding it. It's moving. I didn't want to take a long here overnight, though, because it's below AVWAP of the all-time high. Goes all the way back here. All-time high AVWAP is right there, so what did I do? Just set an alert. Forget it. SMCI was one that I was potentially interested in, but I wasn't, you know, SMCI is kind of it's almost on the do not trade list for me because there's so much like uncertainty for me around, you know, them and their financial reporting and all this stuff. You have big H minus coming in. Is there a trade here? Maybe 8%. It could, I mean, it moves, but not pre-earnings for NVIDIA. TXN, I think you have earnings coming up for these guys. Or that already happened? Already happened. Below VWAP as well. Not interested. ADI above VWAP, but I think the volume isn't anything to write home about. Let's look at the D1. Is breaking out of the 200 after what looks like an earnings pullback. Nah, this is choppy garbage though. Look at that. AMAT, nothing. LRCX. I saw this one yesterday, or was it KLAC? KLAC was the one yesterday. A lot of these are bouncing. There's a lot of setups that are coming in here, but the problem is you have earnings for NVIDIA. So this sector is hard to trade until any of that gets resolved. AVGO was one that I shouted. Set an alert yesterday. You can see it right here. I want to see it get above both H minuses. APP, we traded this overnight. We swung it. Looks good. I actually got I guess we'll just say we got a little lucky here. But yeah, take gains and run away. MU looks like it's holding the 200. This guy can move, right? If NVIDIA goes, this thing's going to go out of sympathy. So same thing here. All-time high AVWAP. Got an alert above it. ON. Nothing to write home about here. Set an alert here. It's been weaker. Yeah, and so, I mean, you look across the board, everything else is kind of, there's nothing else here in SMH. So, what does that tell you? Could you play an NVIDIA earnings run up? Potentially. Is this dragging the market up? No. So this is doing all its own lifting. How could you trade this? pull back to view up and go. That's the only way I could think. But you would need the market tailwind too to really make it worthwhile, and you're not getting it right now. So what would that look like? Well, maybe it's a test of view op, and NVIDIA just continues. That wouldn't surprise me. You might not get a pullback here. But this market is pretty anemic going into earnings for NVIDIA. So with that said, I feel like I've put in a good hour and a half here. Anyone have other questions, thoughts, something they want to look at? Otherwise, I think I'm going to call it for the day. I shared this guy. This isn't it exactly. There's some slight changes in the actual post itself, so make sure you consider that. And I'll be putting that together later as well. If someone else puts it together, share it over because I'm lazy. Like we said, earnings today. Let's look at Salesforce real quick. Look at DoorDash now. Back below VWAP. There's nothing here. CRM, where would we be interested? Breakdown of the 50. Or breakout of the 200. Take your pick. You're smashed in between. There's nothing here. Cohere, nothing. Okay. And then we said S. Let's look at S one more time. I've traded S a lot. I actually like to trade S. We said solid company. We set the alerts. All right, nothing there. Let's look at ZS real quick. Another one. D1 looks great. I mean, and this guy's a mover. I don't know. Definitely interesting. Cool. All right, well, let's leave it here. I think that was a good short one. We flipped some good charts, set some good alerts. I really think that NVIDIA earnings, unless it's a nothing burger, then I think it could move the market either way. And who knows what the Fed's going to say later. That could be interesting too. I expect more of the same, just uncertainty and wait and see, which tends to me to make sense, especially with deals with India, China, and the EU on the horizon. They could be better, they could be worse. I think Trump says the parabolic. He'll say like he wants, on China, that he wants 124% or whatever it is, and on EU he wants 50%, right? But in reality, it'll be like probably less. It'll probably be a quarter of all of that, if anything. Now, that in mind, is still bad for the economy. And if you don't understand why that's still bad for the economy and or spending, inflation, all those things, because those prices are going to be passed through to the consumer 100%. And it's already starting. So keep that in mind. But yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it. And so if the market is reacting to those things and those trade deals come in lower than Trump is spouting off at, which is what I would expect, then that would propel us higher. It would also require earnings to be decent, you would assume. So let's see what happens today. We're making a new relative low of the day. Let's see if it holds, where this candle closes, and go from there. But otherwise, I think we'll call it. I appreciate you guys. If you're not following, shoot me a follow. I think we're always welcome to new people. If you're not in the RDT Discord, highly suggest it. If you're not in one option and you're still learning this stuff, that's a great option too. If you need to see what that's all about, go on YouTube. Pete has one option there. You can go on YouTube and see all the videos from RDT as well. For Harry, that's so good. But yeah, let's just keep plugging away. We're in survival mode. We're in, keep your feet dry, keep the powder dry mode until the market gives us a little bit better reading. We're flat, right? You have your LTI going. We've said yesterday this is a good place to be considering building or starting an LTI. Well, today would have been a good day to start DC8. So yeah, keep that in mind. And let's see what NVIDIA brings us. I take that back. Today would not be a good day to DCA. Wait for NVIDIA and the earnings to come through. So, and the Fed, obviously. Anything else? I think that's it. We had a good stream yesterday with Profit and Izzy. I'd like to continue to do that. I'd like to pull some other people in too. A lot of good traders in RDT. A lot of different, processes. A lot of different ways people trade. And that's cool. It's cool to expose some of this. It's cool to get it out there and show what works for people, what doesn't, and see if we can all collectively make some money. So cool. Let's leave it at that. Remember, Harry is doing his Twitter thing here a little bit later today. Keep your feet dry. Look at this candle. Look at this hammer coming. Are we gonna get a VWAP test soon? It's potential. Cool. Let's go from there. Have a good day. Cheers, guys.